Have you ever judged someone based on their reputation alone? Everyone at Jackson High warned me about Mr. Reynolds, the calculus teacher who failed students for fun. He's impossible to please, they said. He made Alicia cry last semester. The stories were legendary. How he'd call students to the board just to watch them struggle. How he never curved tests even when everyone bombed. How his divorce left him bitter and taking it out on students. I needed that math credit to graduate, so I was stuck in his class. First day, he lived up to every rumor. Cold, demanding, with eyes that seemed to find every weakness. When my first quiz came back with a harsh 58% and office hours, 3:30 written in red, I nearly dropped the class. All day I dreaded that meeting. When I finally dragged myself to his room after school, the door was closed. I heard voices inside, Mr. Reynolds and someone else. I hesitated, then knocked. "Come in," he called. I opened the door to find Mr. Reynolds sitting with an elderly woman in a wheelchair. She had the same sharp eyes as him, but hers were tired. "This is my mother," he said without looking up. "Mom, this is one of my students. I need 5 more minutes with her, then we'll talk about your quiz." I nodded awkwardly and sat at a desk near the door, pretending to check my phone while they worked. The woman was struggling with simple math problems, addition and subtraction. What struck me wasn't Mr. Reynolds' strictness, but his patience. He explained the same concept 4 different ways until something clicked for her. "That's it," he said when she finally got it right. "See? I told you you could do it." The smile that broke across his face transformed him completely. After his mother finished, he walked her to the door where a caretaker was waiting. He kissed her forehead before sending her off. When he turned back to me, the smile was gone, replaced by his usual stern expression. But something had shifted. I couldn't unsee that other version of him. "Your quiz," he said, pulling out my paper. "The concepts clearly aren't clicking. What's your plan?" I don't know, I admitted. Math has always been hard for me. He studied me for a moment. "Do you want to pass this class, or do you want to understand calculus?" "Both, I guess." "Then you'll need to work harder than you ever have." He pulled out a calendar. "I'm here every morning at 7 o'clock and Tuesdays and Thursdays until 4:30. Pick your times." For the next 3 months, I showed up twice a week for extra help. It was brutal. He never lowered his standards, never accepted excuses, but slowly I started to understand. One evening as we wrapped up, I noticed a photo on his desk I hadn't seen before. Mr. Reynolds in graduation robes, arm around the same woman from before, who was lying in a hospital bed wearing a graduation cap. He caught me looking. My mother, she was a math professor before her stroke 5 years ago. Now she's relearning everything she once taught me. He turned the photo away. Every day I teach her the same concepts, and every day she forgets, but she never stops trying. "Is that why you're so tough on us?" I asked before I could stop myself. "I'm tough because calculus is tough. Life is tough." He paused. "And because I've seen too many bright students written off by teachers who couldn't be bothered." On the last day of class, he handed back our final exams. Mine had a 91% at the top, but what caught my eye was the note. "MIT's engineering program would be lucky to have you." I looked up in shock. "How did you know I applied there?" "I wrote your recommendation letter. They called yesterday. After everyone left, I stayed behind." "Why me? You could have picked any student." "Because you showed up," he said simply. "When it got hard, you showed up anyway." At graduation, I spotted Mr. Reynolds in the back row. When they announced my full scholarship to MIT, I looked for him in the crowd. He wasn't smiling, but he nodded once. That was enough. 2 years later, I returned to Jackson High to visit. I found Mr. Reynolds in his classroom, working with a student after hours. When he saw me, he didn't act surprised. "How's MIT?" he asked. "Challenging," I said, "but I keep showing up." This time, he did smile.